Now we understand why we experience rejection from people. But why does God allow us to go through those experiences? Find out in the next few minutes. Hello, how you doing? My name is Toks. I'm the author of Rejected for a Purpose, How God Uses Rejection to Help You Find and Fulfill Your Destiny. Welcome to part 6 of How to Overcome Rejection. If you missed any of the first 5 parts of the series, I encourage you to check out the links below and you'll be directed to all the earlier parts of this video series. Today I'm going to be sharing with you why God allows us to experience rejection from people. Like I mentioned before, people may reject you because you don't meet their expectations. They may do so because you exceed their expectations or because you try to accomplish things with them at the wrong time. But God allows people to reject us so that we can meet His expectations. God allows people to turn us down, overlook us, pass us over, refuse us so that we can meet His expectations. Then the next question then becomes, what are His expectations? God simply expects you and I to fulfill our destiny. God uses rejection as a vehicle to drive us to our destiny. Rejection is a wake-up call. It's an alarm clock that God uses to wake up your calling. Rejection is an alarm clock that God uses to wake up your calling. What is being woken up is your calling. What God has called you to do in life, your purpose. God uses rejection as a vehicle to drive you to your destiny. A scripture that revolutionized this revelation to me is found in Psalm 118, verse 22. Psalm 118, verse 22 simply says, "The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone." The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. In Acts chapter 4, verse 11, Peter explained what that scripture meant. He revealed that the stone represented Jesus, and the builders represented the rulers, the teachers of the law, the religious leaders in Jesus' time. Peter simply was saying that they were the builders that rejected Jesus, the stone, who eventually became who he said he was, the Messiah, the Christ. Nevertheless, let's make it personal because that scripture is relevant to you and I. Let's make it personal. Put yourself in the position of the stone in the scripture. I found it interesting that the verse said, "the stone which the builders rejected." Not the stone which the destroyers rejected, but the stone which the builders rejected. I find it interesting that a lot of times the rejections we face in life are from builders. I want you to think of a builder as somebody who's simply supposed to build you up. The builder could be a parent. The builder could be a mentor. The builder could be a pastor. The builder could be a boss, a leader, a significant other, a spouse. Somebody who's supposed to build you up. It could be a friend. Someone who's supposed to support you, build you up, uphold you. Unfortunately, sometimes they are the very ones that tear us down, that push us down, and mistreat us. The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. Did you notice that the stone was just a stone before it was rejected? But after the rejection, the stone was transformed from just being a stone to being a chief cornerstone. What do you think about when you think of a stone? What comes into your mind? Let me tell you what comes to my mind when I think of a stone. I think of a stone as something you step on, something you kick around, something you throw around. God does not want us to be treated like stones. Unfortunately, people treat us like stones. Sometimes our builders treat us like stones. They step on us. They step on our dreams, step on our desires. They kick us around. They throw us for a loop. They dismiss us, they discard us as irrelevant, as unnecessary, as trash. It's a painful experience. Yet, God uses their thrust to propel you to your destiny. When someone throws you around, plays you for a fool, God uses their action to position you where He wants you to be and with whom He wants you to be with. The stone became a chief cornerstone. The rejection brought the stone from being just a stone to a chief. A chief is a title. When you have a title, that means you have a function. When you have a function, that means you have a purpose. Chief corner. A corner is a position. Truth be told, a cornerstone really is a stone that represents the way a building is supposed to be erected. It serves as the point from which a building is established. It's kind of like the model for the building. It's like the foundation of a building, so to speak, which is who Jesus is to the church. He is the pillar and foundation of the church. He is the one to whom we look at with regard to how to live our lives. But the bottom line is this: the stone which was useless is now useful. The stone which was nothing is now something. And rejection was the catalyst to make that happen. Along the same lines, God uses rejection as a catalyst to help you be who He called you to be, to help you fulfill your destiny. The chief corner is a position. God uses rejection to position you for your purpose. God uses your opposition to position you. Perhaps you heard the story of the guy named Phil. When Phil was 14 years old, he wanted to play professional baseball. Unfortunately, he did not make the cut in his high school to play baseball. And I'm sure you understand that if you try to be part of a sports team, or if you try to join any group to be part of what they're doing and you are refused or you did not make the cut, so to speak, of course, we know that's a form of being rejected. Phil, of course, was disappointed that he could not make his high school baseball team. But Phil decided to run instead. Despite the disappointment, he decided to start running. And he discovered that he was pretty good at it. He was so good in running track that he ended up representing the University of Oregon. It wasn't long after that he developed not only a coach-athlete relationship with his coach, Bill, but he also developed a business partnership with Bill, who was the coach of University of Oregon track team at the time. Eventually, they wanted to help athletes run better, and they started a business in making shoes for athletes. I believe the business started in 1964. They called it Blue Ribbon Sports. I stand corrected, but I believe that's when Blue Ribbon Sports was birthed. In 1978, the business had expanded and they changed the name. And you may not be familiar with Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman's business, but it's called Nike. How did Nike start? Phil Knight was rejected. Thank you for listening. We're going to continue next week. Until then, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for sharing with those that you know need to hear this. Until next week, take care and stay blessed.